Good morning, everyone. My name is Lowell B. Alcantara. The title of this subject is Dispute Resolution and Crisis Management. Next. My report is all about the concept of conflict. A conflict is a struggle between people. Struggle means make forceful. Fight to fight. May pinaglalaban po. The struggle may be physical or between conflicting ideas. Conflicting ideas, ito yung salitan ng, hindi pala salitan, pinaglalaban yung sarili nilang ideya. Halimbawa nito is yung debate po. Yung kabilang panig po, may sarili pong ideya. Yung kabilang panig po, may sarili rin pong ideya. So, bawat panig na yun, may pinaglalaban po ng sariling ideya. Okay. The word comes from Latin conflingere, means to come together for a battle. To come together for a battle means nangahamon ng laban yung isang tao o grupo. Conflicts can either be within one person or they can involve several people or groups. Okay, next. Conflict, it is a natural disagreement arising between two or more people. It exists when they have incompatible goals and one or more believe that the behavior of the other prevents them from their own goal achievement. Nag-exist lamang ang conflict kapag may ibang paniniwala o ideya sa pagitan ng dalawang tao o grupo. May nakita po akong video o senaryo na nakita po sa research ko. Ito po.
In this short video, the supervisor Sue has called Rob into a conference room.
At a big company meeting where Sue announced a major decision, Rob spoke up and told everyone that he thought Sue's decision was the wrong one. As Rob's boss, Sue arranged this meeting to discuss a situation with Rob. This video shows two possible approaches Sue can take to resolving the conflict. Which would you choose?
Hi Sue, how are you?
I am fine, Rob. I hope you are as well.
You asked to see me. What is this about?
Well, I was very disappointed in your response to the announcement yesterday. I think it was unprofessional and put me in a very bad position as your supervisor.
I am sorry to hear that, but if you knew what you were doing, I would not have responded that way.
Rob, I have had enough of your childish behavior and lack of respect. You can pack up your belongings now. I will have security escort you from the building. Goodbye. Well, Rob, I am sorry that you feel that way. Had I known you felt that way, I would have made sure we sat down to discuss this prior to the meeting. Now, why don't we sit down and discuss why you think I do not know what I'm doing?
Rob and Sue sit down on the same side of the table, facing.
Papaliwanag ko lang po. Sa video na to, sa isang trabaho, meron pong isang problema. Si Shu po, yung supervisor, at si Rob po, yung empleyado po. Or boss daw po. And si Shu may naisip na solusyon po dun sa problema na yun, dun sa kumpanya na yun. Si Shu po yung supervisor. At nag-announce po siya ng isang meeting kung paano po ma-solve yung problema na yun. Kaso, etong si Rob, hindi po sang-ayon dun sa ginawang solusyon po ni Shu. Hanggang sa nakarating po tong issue na to kay Shu. Pinatawag ni Shu si Rob kung ano yung problema dun sa ginawang solusyon ni Shu. Ang nangyari, sa unang approach po ni Shu, mali po yung ginawa niya. Nagalit po siya kagad at pinaalis sa trabaho si Rob po. Dahil hindi niyo po nagustuhan yung idea ni Rob po. Sa pangalawang approach po naman ni Shu, maayos po yung approach niya dito dun kay Rob. Kasi po, inaaya niya po si Rob na sabihin po sa kanya at sabihin rin po ni Shu yung kanyang ideya para masolve po yung problema at kung ano po yung mali na ginawa ni Shu dun sa problema. Kung ano po yung ginawa ni Shu, kung ano po yung solusyon na ginawa ni Shu dun po sa problema at kung ano naman din po yung idea ni Rob na solusyon para malutas po yung problema. Sa pangalawang approach na po ni Shu, naayos po yung conflict po. Yun lang po, maraming salamat.
Dispute resolution and crisis management. First to discuss is the conflict approach. On this topic, we are going to discuss the very important person and some facts. So who's Charles Wright Mills? He was an American sociologist and a professor of sociology at Columbia University from 1946 until his death in 1962. He was also known for publishing popular and intellectual journals and known for several books, which are the following. The first book was The Power Elite, which introduced that terms and describes the relationship and class alliances among the U.S. political, military, and economic elite. So the second one was The White Collar. It is about the American middle classes on American middle class. The third one or the last one was The Sociological Imagination, which presents a model of analysis for interdependent subjective experiences of a person's biography, the general social structure, and historical development of a person. So how a conflict starts within a society. According here, societies are defined by inequality. So that inequality produces a social conflict or conflict rather than producing orders and consensus. So basically, the conflict is based on inequality. So how a society can overcome it? Through fundamental transformation of the existing relations in the society and is productive of new social relations. So how can we overcome this conflict? Is through, again, fundamental transformation. So for example, is paying taxes. If all of the people are paying taxes, we are going to we have our way to regulate our utilities or our government by the help of special agencies or special persons that is assigned to do so. So next is the human potential. It is how a person can work for something, how a person can do something. So in short, it's the capacity of creativity of a person. It is suppressed by exploitation and oppression that is necessary in any society with an unequal division of labor. So these and other qualities that I have not mentioned do not necessarily have to stunted due to the requirements to the so-called civilizing process or the functional necessity. Because according here, creativity is actually an engine of economic development or economic change. So come and think of it. If every person has a creative mind or have to do for something or has the power to work for something, people can make a change. People can make a better decision that can lead to economic development or economic change. So next are the theories. Conflict theories are perspectives in sociology and social psychology that emphasize a materialist interpretation of history, dialectical method of analysis, a critical stance towards existing social arrangement, and political program of revolution or at least reform. Conflict theories draw attention to power differentials such as class conflict and generally contrast historically dominant ideologies. It is therefore a macro-level analysis of society. So what is macro-level analysis? It takes into account the social, political, economic, and other forces that impact societies and individuals but might not capture important facets of social interaction that occur on the macro level or the macro level analysis. So there are many conflicts that our society currently experiencing. Here are examples: our education system, our criminal justice system, and Black Lives Matter, and many more. So next to discuss is the very important person behind this theory. So who's Karl Marx? So Karl Marx is the father of social conflict theory, which is component of four major paradigms of sociology. Certain conflict theories set out to highlight the ideological aspect inherent in traditional thought. While many of these perspectives hold parallels, conflict theory does not refer to a unified school of thought and should not be confused with, for instance, peace and conflict studies or any other specific theory of social conflict. Next to discuss is the types. Conflict theory is most commonly associated with Marxism, but as reaction to functionalism and positivist method, it may also be associated with a number of other perspectives, including critical theory. It is an approach to social philosophy that focuses on reflective assessment and critique of society and culture in order to reveal the challenged power structures. Second is feminist theory, an approach that recognizes women's political, social, and economic equality to men. The third is postmodern theory, an approach that is critical of modernism with a mistrust of grand theories and ideologies. Next is post-structural theory. It refers to a wave of academic output that was largely defined with its opposition to the structuralist movement, which emerged from France during 1950s to the 1960s. Next is post-colonial theory. It looks at issues of power, economics, politics, religion, and culture, and how these elements work in relation to colonial hegemony. Next is the queer theory, a growing body of research findings that challenges the heterosexual bias in Western society. World system theory. It is also known as world systems analysis or the world system perspectives. It is a multidisciplinary, macro-scale approach to world history and social change which emphasizes the world system as the primary unit of social analysis. Lastly is the race conflict approach, a point of view that focuses on inequality and conflict between people of different racial and ethnic categories. Thank you for listening.
Concept of conflict resolution and strategies. Conflict resolution is conceptualized as the method and processes involved in facilitating the peaceful ending of conflict and retribution. The term conflict resolution may also be used interchangeably with dispute resolution. It can be thought to encompass the use of nonviolent resistance measures. It is a way for two or more parties to find a peaceful solution to a disagreement among them. People deal with conflict in a variety of ways, therefore, you need different conflict resolution strategies. Kenneth Thomas and Ralph Hillman developed 5 conflict resolution strategies that people use to handle conflict, including avoiding, defeating, compromising, accommodating, and collaboration. Strategy number 1, avoiding. Avoiding is when people just ignore or withdraw from the conflict. They choose this method when the discomfort of confrontation exceeds the potential reward of resolution of the conflict. Strategy number 2, competing. Competing is used by people who go into a conflict planning to win. They're assertive and not cooperative. This method is characterized by the assumption that one side wins and everyone else loses. Strategy number 3, accommodating. Accommodating is a strategy where one party gives in to the wishes or demands of another. They're being cooperative but not assertive. Strategy number 4, collaborating. Collaborating is a method used when people are both assertive and cooperative. A group may learn to allow each participant to make a contribution with the possibility of co-creating a shared solution that everyone can support. Strategy number 5, compromising. Compromising where participants are partially assertive and cooperative. The concept is that everyone gives up a little bit of what they want and no one gets everything they want. And that's the concept of conflict resolution and strategies.